Shedeur Sanders didn't say a word. No eye rolls, no sideline theatrics, no cryptic tweets. As Dillon Gabriel stumbled through another lifeless drive, Sanders sat still, eyes forward, helmet beside him, waiting. That silence, that restraint, spoke louder than anything else in the stadium. It wasn't just maturity. It was a public test of patience in a league that feeds on impulse.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
But when Myles Garrett exploded just feet away, the contrast became undeniable. One man boiling over, the other biding time. And fans? They chose sides instantly. The heart of this drama isn't just Gabriel's shaky performance or Garrett's visible fury. It's the Browns' staggering decision to sideline Shedeur Sanders, a player many see as their future. The video unpacks how Cleveland's front office, despite knowing the stakes, chose conservatism over potential, fueling an NFL media circus. As chaos boils over in the locker room and across social media, Sanders' calm contrasts sharply with the storm around him, turning this saga into more than just a roster decision. It's a spotlight on a franchise unraveling and a rising star waiting to ignite. You can feel the frustration boiling over through the screen. The camera pans to Myles Garrett, shoulders tense, fists clenched, pacing like a man about to rip off his helmet and walk out. And really, who could blame him? The Cleveland Browns just made a quarterback decision that no one, literally no one, seemed to understand, starting Dillon Gabriel over Shedeur Sanders. And in that moment, with the stadium lights glaring and another failed drive unfolding in front of him, Garrett wasn't just reacting. He was sending a message, loud and clear. This isn't just a football decision. It's dysfunction, plain and simple. There's a reason Garrett's sideline blow-up went viral. It wasn't just the yelling. It was the look in his eyes, the absolute disbelief. You could tell this wasn't about one bad play. This was about something deeper. A system that keeps making the same mistakes. A front office that seems more invested in preserving egos than building a winning team. And then there's Shedeur Sanders, the calm in the storm. The guy everyone knows is the future of the franchise, quietly waiting while chaos plays out around him. It's surreal, the sheer contrast. Garrett is on the verge of combusting. Fans are lighting up social media with rage. And Sanders? He's just composed, focused, still on the bench. The Browns' decision to bench Sanders for Gabriel has done more than just spark controversy. It's triggered a full-scale identity crisis. You've got fans, players, analysts, everyone watching this disaster unfold and asking the same question. What is this team doing? Gabriel's performance has only added fuel to the fire. It's been underwhelming at best, inconsistent, flat, the kind of outing that doesn't give fans hope. It gives them headaches. Every missed opportunity is a reminder that Shedeur is right there, ready. Every 3-and-out stings worse when the future franchise quarterback is standing idle, helmet in hand. This should have been an easy choice. Sanders isn't just another rookie. He's been billed as a game changer. The kind of talent you build around, not sideline. But the Browns seem to be doing the exact opposite. Choosing predictability over potential, playing not to lose instead of playing to win. That kind of mentality doesn't just kill momentum, it kills locker rooms. And Garrett's sideline eruption is the clearest proof yet that things are starting to fracture. This isn't just one passionate player venting mid-game. This is a leader losing faith in the people calling the shots. And when that happens, when your veterans start to publicly crack, it's only a matter of time before the rest of the team follows. And yet, somehow, the organization remains silent. No explanations. No adjustments. Just more of the same. The disconnect between the coaching staff and the reality on the field couldn't be more obvious. This isn't about a complicated playbook or needing more time. This is about ignoring your most talented player in favor of a safer, less capable option, and then acting surprised when the results fall flat. And let's not forget how fast the internet moves. The moment Garrett lost it, the clip was everywhere. TikTok, Twitter, ESPN, memes, edits, people calling the Browns a soap opera in pads. The quarterback controversy didn't just dominate sports media. it crossed over into full-blown entertainment territory. Because when you got this much dysfunction, this much wasted potential, and this many eyes on you, the NFL stops feeling like a league and starts feeling like reality TV. Week to week, game to game, every decision becomes a plot twist. And this latest twist? It's got everyone talking. How long can the Browns keep ignoring what's so painfully obvious to everyone else? How long can Sanders sit on the bench while the season slowly slips away? How long until Garrett's frustration turns into something worse? There's only so much tension a locker room can take. When decisions feel arbitrary, when players start to feel like pawns instead of pieces in a real plan, everything starts to break down. Trust, focus, chemistry, and once it's gone, it's hard to get back. The Browns have been walking this tightrope for years. Flashy signings, half-baked strategies, coaching changes. But this situation, it feels different. This is the most public their dysfunction has ever been. And it's not just the fans noticing anymore. It's their own star players. You'd think the front office would have learned by now. But here we are. Yet another season with more questions than answers. What makes this worse is the symbolism. Garrett's rage. Sanders' stillness. Gabriel's struggles. It's like a perfectly staged drama. The fire, the calm, and the chaos, all in one sideline snapshot. And every week they repeat this script, the pressure builds. Fans aren't just frustrated, they're furious. This isn't about a bad start. It's about watching a team sabotage itself from the inside. It's about sitting through games knowing they're leaving their best shot at winning on the bench. And for Sanders, the longer he waits, the bigger the expectations grow. At some point, they're going to hand him the ball. Not because they're ready, but because they'll have no other choice. And when that happens, all eyes will be on him. One shot to flip the narrative. One shot to salvage what's left of the season. It's not fair, but that's what this organization has created. A powder keg, and the clock is ticking. There's no world where the situation calms down on its own. Not with the media dissecting every snap. Not with Garrett turning into a walking headline. Not with fans screaming for change louder every week. If anything, the silence from the Browns' leadership only makes it worse. What's the plan? What's the end game? Because right now, it feels like no one is driving the bus. And through it all, Sanders remains composed. He's not posting cryptic messages. He's not feeding the frenzy. He's just waiting, learning, ready. That calm energy is exactly what the team needs. But it's being wasted. That's the tragedy in all of this. Not just that the Browns are losing games, but that they're wasting time, wasting trust, wasting a chance to let their future take shape. The meltdown we saw from Garrett wasn't a fluke. It was a warning. The kind of emotional response that comes when your heart is all in, but your faith in the system is running out. And if that doesn't shake the front office, nothing will. The Browns don't need another media storm. They're already in one. What they need is clarity, leadership, a bold decision that puts the best talent on the field, not the safest option on the depth chart. This season could still be salvaged. The pieces are there. But if they keep clinging to comfort and ignoring the obvious, they're headed for another year of what could have beens. It's not too late, but the window is closing fast. Sanders is a shot. Garrett knows it. The fans know it. The entire league is watching this unfold like a live drama. And every second they wait, the pressure builds. So the question isn't if the Browns will make the switch. It's when, and whether it will be too late. Because if this team lets another season crash and burn while their most promising quarterback stands silent on the sidelines, they'll have no one to blame but themselves. What do you think? Is the Browns front office dragging their feet, or is there some master plan we're all missing? Should Shedeur be starting now, or is the team actually playing the long game? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And if you're as fed up with the chaos or living for it, don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns, blow-ups, and everything in between. This NFL season is straight up unhinged, and trust us, you won't want to miss what happens next. At this point, you almost have to laugh to keep from yelling. The Cleveland Browns, a franchise already known for setting the bar low and still managing to trip over it, have somehow managed to turn a simple quarterback decision into a full-blown spectacle. Not because there were two equally strong candidates. Not because they were spoiled for choice. But because they deliberately benched their future star, Shedeur Sanders, for a quarterback who had consistently delivered mediocrity. And now it's backfiring. Loudly. Publicly. Embarrassingly. Let's talk about what this really is. A power struggle disguised as a depth chart decision. The front office insists they're making strategic calls. But the fans, the players, and everyone paying attention, it looks like pride. It looks like stubbornness. It looks like people in charge refusing to admit they got it wrong. Because Dillon Gabriel, he didn't silence the doubters. He confirmed them. Drive after drive of flat execution. No rhythm. No energy. He looks like what he is. A backup. A placeholder. The guy you start when you have no other options. Which is exactly why this whole thing feels so off. Because the Browns do have another option. They have the option. And they're keeping him on the bench. It's not just confusing, it's infuriating. That decision sent a message to everyone in that building. And it wasn't we're focused on winning. It was we're too afraid to shake things up, even if it means staying mediocre. And nobody is feeling that more than Myles Garrett. You don't react the way Garrett did unless something's been building. That pacing, that visible anger, that raw emotion. It was personal. And not because he's emotionally fragile or just had a bad day. Because he's tired. Tired of watching winnable games get thrown away. Tired of watching potential rot on the bench. Tired of watching the front office pretend everything's fine when it clearly isn't. That outburst was years of pent-up frustration boiling to the surface. And now it's not just about Gabriel versus Sanders. It's about trust. About accountability, about the kind of culture this team is building or failing to build. Because in the NFL, culture matters. It's what separates good teams from great ones. It's what keeps players motivated during slumps. And when you've got one of your cornerstone players visually checking out in front of national cameras, that culture is broken. Or worse, it never existed in the first place. And through all this, Shedeur Sanders continues to carry himself with the composure of a 10-year veteran. No eye rolls. No complaints. No interviews throwing shade at the coaching staff. Just that steady, quiet confidence that says, when it's my time, I'll be ready. That's what makes this all even more frustrating. The Browns aren't just mismanaging a player. They're mismanaging a leader. The one person who hasn't added to the chaos. The one player who's actually acting like a franchise quarterback before he's even been given the title. And the front office? They're squandering that. For what? A safe option that hasn't delivered? A refusal to admit they may have made the wrong call at the start of the season? At some point, you have to stop protecting your decisions and start protecting your future. And Shedeur Sanders is that future. Every moment he spends on the sidelines while the team flounders is a moment lost. And don't think the rest of the league isn't watching. Other teams see what's happening. Coaches, players, agents, they're all paying attention. They see the dysfunction. They see Garrett's frustration. They see Sanders being wasted. And they're taking notes. Because once word gets out that your locker room doesn't trust leadership, that stain sticks. It affects free agency. It affects trades. It affects morale. And maybe that's the most damaging part of all this. Not the losses, not the memes, not the media chaos, but the quiet erosion of belief inside the building. When veterans start questioning coaching decisions, when young talent starts wondering if they'll ever get a real shot, when fans start booing not the performance, but the decisions, that's when you know you've lost control of the narrative. And the Browns? They've lost it. They've handed over the story to the media, to the fans, to the memes. They're not driving the season. They're reacting to it. Every week, every press conference, every sideline meltdown becomes a new headline. And none of them are good. Meanwhile, Sanders waits. Still the calmest person in the room. Still watching, learning, absorbing. And that patience? It's admirable. But it's also a time bomb. Because at some point he will be put in. Not because the front office suddenly gets brave, but because they'll have no choice. And when he steps in, it'll be under the worst circumstances. The team will be scrambling. The media will be circling. The fans will be demanding a miracle. That's not how you support a rookie quarterback. That's how you set him up, which is why this entire situation is so reckless. It's not just about winning now. It's about development. It's about long-term vision. And right now, the Browns are doing everything except supporting their long-term vision. They're hesitating, second-guessing, covering up, and every week they delay, the damage gets worse. It's easy to forget how rare it is to have a quarterback prospect like Sanders. Strong arm, smart decisions, cool under pressure, leader on and off the field. That's not something you waste time with. That's something you build around immediately. But Cleveland? They're stuck in a loop. The same loop that's kept them in the middle of the pack for years. Scared to commit. Scared to admit mistakes. Scared to lead. And if they don't snap out of it soon, they'll do what they've always done. Squander a real opportunity. The season is still in motion. There's time, but not much. If the Browns keep running the same plays with the same quarterback, expecting different results, they're not just losing games. They're losing faith from their players, from their fans. And once that's gone, you can't get it back with a press release. So what's it going to be? Another season of regrets? Another lost year in Garrett's prime? Another rising star watching from the sidelines as the team crashes and burns? Or will someone in that building finally wake up, look at the chaos around them, and say enough? Because whether it's next week or next month, Sanders will take the field. The question is, will it be as the last-ditch savior or the leader they believed in from day one? You can't script a season like this. But the Browns? They're writing it one bad decision at a time. It didn't have to go this way. This wasn't some catastrophic injury situation. It wasn't a mid-season scramble for options. The Browns chose this chaos. They stood at a fork in the road. One path led to growth, to building something around a player with the talent and poise to lead. The other? That led straight into a storm of dysfunction, media scrutiny, and locker room discontent. And they walked directly into the storm. Start Dillon Gabriel. Watch the offense stall out. Sit on Shedeur Sanders like he's just a backup from the practice squad. Rinse. Repeat. Deny. Deflect. Pretend the fans are just overreacting. That denial? It's part of the problem. The Browns have somehow convinced themselves that this mess is just part of the plan. As if every eye roll on the sideline, every failed third down conversion, every viral clip of Garrett fuming like a kettle about to explode is just part of strategic rollout. But this isn't strategy, it's stagnation. And everyone watching can see it, except the people making the calls. Let's talk about the body language, because it's screaming louder than any soundbite coming from a press conference. Myles Garrett is no stranger to pressure. He's played in tough games. He's dealt with media noise. But this was different. This wasn't the body language of a competitor. It was the body language of a man who's lost faith. That pacing, that glare toward the sideline, that frustration oozing out of every movement, that wasn't about the scoreboard. That was about the slow decay of belief inside that locker room. Garrett's eruption has become the defining image of the Brown season so far. It's a symbol now. A representation of what happens when an elite player watches the people in charge treat the team like a game of chess played with broken pieces. And while he's pacing the sideline like a ticking time bomb, there's Shedeur Sanders, calm, unreadable, locked in. His demeanor is the exact opposite of what's swirling around him. He doesn't need to scream. He doesn't need to argue. He doesn't even need to campaign for the job that should already be his. He knows that everyone else is doing the talking for him. Fans, teammates, analysts, and now, viral clips of Garrett himself. The chants are growing louder. The outside noise isn't going away, it's multiplying. And you know what the Browns keep doing? Pretending it's fine. There's this illusion of control coming from the front office, as if by ignoring the problem long enough, it'll just resolve itself. But here's the reality. Nothing is going to resolve without a real change. Not with Gabriel under center. Not with the defense putting in work only to watch the offense sputter every time it touches the field. Not with the most electric quarterback prospect sitting cold on the bench. And the longer this goes on, the harder the fallout's going to be. Because let's be honest, when Sanders does get a shot, the expectations will be enormous. Unfairly enormous. He'll be expected to fix everything overnight. And that's the trap the Browns have set. They didn't gradually build toward him. They didn't give him a soft launch. They backed themselves into a corner so tightly that when the switch finally happens, it'll come with a tsunami of pressure. That pressure could have been managed. But not now. Not after the sideline meltdowns. Not after weeks of dead-end offense. Not after fans have been trained to believe Sanders is the one-man solution to an organizational crisis. And maybe he is. But why put him in that situation now, with everything already on fire? It's a lose-lose setup of the Browns' own making. Let's rewind this. If the team had just started the season with Sanders, let him take the growing pains, built the playbook around his strengths, focused on long-term chemistry with the offense, the narrative would be different. Progress, even with losses, would have looked like growth. Fans would be patient. Players would be bought in. But what they're doing now, it feels like a stalling tactic with no direction. And stalling in the NFL doesn't buy you time. It costs you seasons. Garrett knows this. That's why he's reacting like this. Because it's not just a quarterback decision. It's the same mistake the team has made for years, dressed up in new uniforms. High potential, low follow-through, big names, bad leadership. And once players stop believing the front office is capable of fixing it, the whole thing unravels. Culture, once fractured, is nearly impossible to glue back together mid-season. You can switch QBs. You can shuffle play callers. But you can't undo the message that's already been sent. We don't trust our own talent. And yet, somehow, Sanders still shows up, still prepares, still waits. He's being asked to shoulder an entire franchise's failure plan, and he hasn't even taken a meaningful snap. That's the kind of mental toughness you can't teach. The kind of resilience that only makes fans want to see him play more. Because if this is what he looks like under pressure, in limbo, while the team collapses around him, what could he be with the offense in his hands? That's the question hanging over this entire season. And if the Browns don't give us an answer soon, they might not like the one the fans choose. Because fans can't be gaslit forever. They see the body language. They see the frustration. They know when a team is lying to them. And if this front office keeps pretending everything is going according to plan, they're going to lose more than just games. They'll lose trust. And that's way harder to recover than a win-loss record. So what's left? Another week of evaluating. Another round of empty statements. Another game of keeping Garrett mic'd up just in case he has another viral meltdown. Or is this the week they finally do what they should have done from the start? Start Shedeur Sanders. Give the team something to rally behind. Show your players, your fans, your locker room that you're not just clinging control. You're ready to lead. Because if the spiral keeps going, the Browns won't just be a team in crisis. They'll be a punchline.